Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be talking about the 1970 thriller film Joe. But before we get into that, I remind you guys to please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, follow me on all my socials, Instagram, follow me on X, check me out on Letterboxd. Also check out my podcast, the Real Life Podcast. It's available on Spotify, so please give that a listen, give it a review, and check that out. That would help me out very much. So with that being said, let's get into the review. So Joe is a movie about a dad whose daughter is involved with, she's dating this druggie, and she gets involved with drugs and she ends up almost dying from it, and he meets a local, blue collar worker named Joe at a bar after an unfortunate event. If you haven't seen the film, I guess I'm gonna spoil it here for you. So, spoiler warning, I guess. This movie came out in 1970, so if you haven't seen the film, I encourage you to please check it out. And from here on out, I'm gonna spoil the movie, so please, you've been warned. So, Joe, his daughter is dating, like I said, a junkie. Or not Joe. William has a daughter who's played by Susan Sarandon. One of her early films. This is pre-Rocky Horror Picture Show. This is one of her early films. She's dating this guy, and he's a drug dealer. She ends up taking the drugs, and she almost dies, basically, from an overdose. So he goes to the hospital, goes back to her apartment to get a few things for her, clothes and whatnot. And as he's in the apartment, her boyfriend, his name's Frank, runs into the apartment and sees her dad there, and they get in a tussle, and William, her dad, ends up killing Frank, and he leaves this guy dead in the apartment, goes to a local bar where he runs into Joe, who's played by Peter Boyle, the late Peter Boyle, and he's like this blue-collar worker, very opinionated, talking about the hippies are ruining America and the music and the culture and everything like that, very much like a pro-American type guy. And Joe is upset, and he's sort of drunk, and he's talking about, man, if I got my hands on one of those hippies, I'd kill him. And William lets out, he's like, I did. And Joe's like, really? He thinks he's messing with him. A couple days later, they find the dead guy. Turns out he's the one, he puts two and two together, that's who he ended up killing. And so throughout the movie, this dad, who's like this really clean-cut, New York, business guy, big money type of dude, he basically, the guy you wouldn't think would do something like that. He's talking to Joe, and he's like, he almost feels some sort of gratification that he's killed a junkie, and Joe appreciates that because he hates all the junkies and all the hippies and whatnot, and so he basically is all for it. And through them getting to know each other more and more, his daughter finds out that his dad killed her boyfriend, and she runs off, takes off. So they go, William and Joe, they go to look for her, and let's say they go to all the seedy places in New York. This movie takes place in New York, and so we don't really get to see like the ultra 70s New York, but we kind of do see the underbelly drug. This movie I'm guessing takes place in 1970. This movie takes place in 1970, so this is like right smack dab in the middle of the Vietnam War. So there's a lot of turmoil going on in America. People who are against Nixon, people who don't like Nixon, people evading, going to war, and then you get all the drugs taking over America. And so Joe's kind of really fed up with it all. It's like he's got an arsenal in his house. He's wanting the opportunity to kill some of these junkies and these bad people. And so we follow them into like this underbelly of New York, where he meets these people and kind of meets these, young kids, 20-something, teenagers, whatever. And so I guess I won't spoil the ending, but I do recommend this movie because it is a common, it feels like, it's weird how something like this can be so relevant, even though it came out forever ago, over 50 years ago. and it's still relevant to today. Not so much like, not so much, but how politics and all that stuff has been weaved into, you know, and it has been since the dawn of like Hollywood and stuff like that, how politics are weaved into a story, but how relevant this movie is till now, and the kind of shocking ending of it all is, I think, so poignant, and it's very powerful, you know, because it's a commentary on, like, you know, you're a parent, this is what happened, this is what's going on around your kids, and you let it happen, and you don't want to be the bad guy, you don't want to do what's necessary, and Joe wants to do what's necessary, but William is like, he doesn't want to be that guy, he doesn't want to push the edge, you know, and so, very conflicting, you know, very conflicting emotions at the very end of the movie, and I cannot recommend this movie enough. Absolutely fantastic. You know, it's a movie I've heard about, and I've seen the poster, because Peter Boyle, because he was in Young Frankenstein. This is 4 years before Young Frankenstein, which I'm going to review later this year. That'll be around December, I believe. And so, you know, just 4 years before he did Young Frankenstein, and I think he did a great job in this movie. You know, he plays that, you know, blue collar worker struggle type, and he kind of played that's not so to an, you know, I say exaggerated, but to a kind of plays that character in a way in Taxi Driver, which came out I think 76, or I might be wrong, maybe it came out 75. Either way, played a couple years later, and you know, like I said, still relevant to today. And so, yeah, I can't recommend this movie enough. Please check it out. I'm not sure where it's streaming, but recommend you go watch it if you can find it. It's very 70s, very, say, exploitation. I wouldn't say it's quite exploitation, but it's sort of, it's very raw. Joe does, you know, he does crack the N-word a couple times, you know, a little rough around the edges character, but sort of sympathize with him. And so with that, we're not like, he's not such a perfect character. It's not, you know, he's a total good guy or he's a total bad guy. He kind of sits on the fence where he wants to do right, but he's not a perfect character. And that's what I appreciate. So can't recommend this movie enough. Please check it out, buy it, rent it, do whatever you can. That's what I have to say. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.